everybody want to be on your coattail. Everybody
Say
like,
it
hey, we
again.
having a good time. Everybody want to be on your coattail. But when you got peace, no, I'm not allowing you in my space unless you take accountability. I'm not allowing you in my space unless you respect my boundaries. No, I'm not allowing you in my space unless you a true.
Welcome to Surviving and Thriving, the Black Experience. Here we talk about the real adversities Black Americans face while navigating corporate spaces, educational institutions, and the justice system. We name the pressures, expose the barriers, and share strategies to help you adapt, endure, and move forward while protecting your peace. So let's get into today's discussion. So you were talking about statistics, and I remember growing up, it used to be a commercial that talked about like the concept of like incarcerated fathers. And it's just the craziest thing of how things were in fact marketed, in regards to Black potentials, because we knew they weren't talking about other people at that time. And so it's just really, 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 really interesting
What
with
if they
that.
would have reversed that stat and said that? Because I just did daddy issues, and it's about they talk a lot about absent fathers and single mothers, but they never talk about the positive side, like a present father. And if a person heard that all the time, like the number is like if they're like 80 and 90% with a father being present, like the reading, the how far you'll go, like the stats on a father being present, they like a father being present is it increases the chance of a child being read to every night.
Mm-hmm.
The like because that father is likely to do that. And not to say that, and I know we talk about women a lot, but we are really naturally like go-getters, like
Mm-hmm.
for real. And we be trying to do everything. And I seen a video recently about like how Christmas has become a workout for women because you're trying to make it be this big thing. And that's why I don't really celebrate holidays like, oh, I need these decorations, I need these matching pajamas, and I need to do this. And if you don't do it, it won't get done. Or if you don't do it, it'll allow other people to be a part of it because we keep getting away from what it's really about, the experience and a time with your family. Your mom being present is just as impactful as, as a present father, but they don't talk about what the stats are for because a lot of us, the most successful women are Black women. Like, I mean, the most
Mm-hmm.
successful person, we have the highest college degrees. And that's because most of us were raised with women. So let's talk about the positives and just not to say like you should not, because I'm not aiming for it, because being a single mom has been challenging and I would not wish that on anyone. But let's talk about the positives. Like we don't always, because that keeps us in a negative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Single moms, that's this, you on this or that. But what about what has been done? And the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with present fathers, what has been done. Like a kid can read early. That's big. I see 2 years old and 3 year olds reading and like it's yeah. And not to say that only occurs in there, but it's a better likely chance it does happen if a father is present.
Look around today's classrooms. Screens are everywhere: tablets, iPads, and even smartboards. Technology is moving faster than ever before. But in a classroom full of screens, something important is slowly being forgotten: the simple magic of opening a book and seeing yourself inside the story. I wrote the Forgotten page to remind children that books still matter and that every child deserves to see themselves represented in stories they read. This heartwarming story follows Paige, a book who feels forgotten when technology begins to replace reading in the classroom, until children rediscover the power of turning real pages. The Forgotten page is available on Amazon in English and in Spanish for classrooms, libraries, and families who believe in the power of stories. Because sometimes the stories we almost forget are the ones children need the most. No, you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
think what you're overall saying is like focusing on, of course, the positive versus the negative. But I would also say too, like, and I consider it a blessing, and for people to understand it in the audience, even though in my case, where my father was incarcerated, I had an active father. And until I got grown, I didn't really understand the importance of that. Meaning, like, not the concept of, oh, I just knew who my daddy
Mhm.
was, My dad sent articles, clippings. I was signed up for every registry in regards to gifts from my dad. Like my dad was an active participant. So let me go ahead and highlight this. While many Black fathers are incarcerated, absence is not the same as indifference. Across prisons and jails, fathers still find ways to show up sending letters, making phone calls, and saving what little they have to buy birthday gifts, holiday cards, and or sign their children up to receive items. These acts may seem small, but to a child, they mean everything. They are reminders of love, care, and connection. In a system designed to sever family bonds, many Black fathers continue to participate in their children's lives the only way they can, proving that fatherhood is not defined solely by physical presence, but by intention, effort, and love. So let's go ahead and hop back into this discussion.
Oh, I understand because I've always felt this disconnect because as a child, I was told it was rumors about my father, and I always just felt like my dad wasn't my dad. So I distanced myself from him. And when I
Mm-hmm.
found out he really wasn't my father, but his still probably to the day he died, his willingness to make me know, like, because when I asked him, like, are you my father? He was like, Ciara, I was there the day you were born. I was there when you took your first steps. Like, I've always been there for you. Like, and I'm sorry I made you feel like you wasn't my daughter. Like, then it just made me really reflect on the person who was present because we be so focused, what, on the negative, like, my
Yep.
father is not present.
Yep.
But look what you do have,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's gratitude, and that will change your whole perspective on
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I appreciated that man so much, and that's why, like, he wasn't as what I wanted him to be, but he was there and he gave me what he gave all his other kids. Everything could be better. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's all about how you look at it. It's your experience to be who you are today, and that's why I don't want to discredit him either, but we be focused so much on, like,
Mm-hmm.
the lack versus the
It's
abundance.
interesting because
Yeah.
me and my boyfriend the other day were just talking about this, and he also said that word gratitude. And because
Hmm.
even though my father was an active father while he was incarcerated, when my dad got out, I feel my dad, because he was in jail for quite a few years, was very institutionalized mentally. And so while I was in
Yeah.
fact explaining to him, hey, this is a lifestyle you should go. Things have changed, blah, blah, blah. You need to try this, try this, dad, and things and such. He just couldn't get it. And if it was frustrating to me, because I'm like, why won't you just get this? Why don't you
Yeah.
understand that this is not the life you need to live? Like you spent time because of this. You don't want to do this again. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that the biggest thing that I realized with my father was that when you do come out of prison, especially when you spend like federal time or anything to that extent, the world likes to make it seem like all you need to do is come out and get a job and it should be fine. Well, we as citizens who've never gotten in trouble, as citizens who don't have backgrounds, can sometimes not find a job in general. Hence what we see in the news now.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that if it's
Hmm.
hard for us as people who have degrees in most cases, right? Who've worked and has
Yeah.
plenty of years of experience, but still can't find jobs or with reasonable wages within the fields that we're choosing as a whole. You think a person who has been titled now a felon can in fact just walk
Yep.
and find a job. You think that these rehabilitation programs, it doesn't expunge your records. That's what people don't understand. Your record still remains the same. And I think that people need to understand that's not to say that people have not overcome, because I know quite a few people in my family, I have no shame of that,
I
who've
know.
actually overcome and who actually have very good jobs, very good careers, who were in fact, inmate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before, so, and who've also been, like, I call it, in the pen, the real, not the jail, the feds. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
who've come out and lived their life and are living very productive lives. So it's not to say that you can't, but it's all about the mindset and the
I
energy.
had the same type of thinking too, like why you don't. And then I talked to somebody who honestly, I talked to somebody who did experience it and came out on the other side, like really doing what but he was like, yeah, he really spent that time reading and really working on himself. But if you're still like, even if the outside world, because I know for me, if we're still encouraging or enabling that bad behavior by funding or doing whatever, it's keeping that person stuck too. It's keeping them not, and also everybody's not a reader. And like you said, all those programs, it may not be ran by the most, I'll say, righteous person. And I'm not trying to say righteous, but a genuine purpose person who's really doing it to help these people versus getting money from these people,
Mhm.
because there's government funding and contracts. And that's why I really is big about who I work with. I'm like, I need people who are really trying to help people because it is about the mindset. And some people are never told the truth.
So let's do just that. Tell the truth. Black people don't fall victim because we're incapable. We fall victim because systems were designed to limit access to information, literacy, and understanding. When you can't read contracts, policies, medical paperwork, or legal language, decisions get made for you instead of by you. Illiteracy isn't a personal failure, it's a structural weapon.
And
Mhm.
maybe he had like the difference between a one person incarcerated who got it and who doesn't. They never had a person who like woke them up and told, like, do you see where your life is headed? Like, really
Mhm.
be real with them and be honest about everything so they can be honest about the things they went through and deal with whatever so they can come out on the other side. I
Mhm.
do like some of the programs. I just seen a video about them doing a daddy daughter dance with the
Mhm.
daddies in jail. I think that's something really big because I feel like that's a healing moment too for the dad. It's a
Mhm.
big moment for the daughter and both of them. Like I
Mhm.
like things like that. I like seeing things like that.
I think that's absolutely. I didn't even know that exists, and I guarantee you, if that probably existed
I think
back
it's
then,
good.
my mom would have probably made time and a provision for me to be able
Yeah,
to go. Even if it was like on a phone, where there's a will, there's a way. Even
it
if it was like on a phone where they
does.
can't come across the thing. Hey, just
Yeah,
act like you spinning, put your arm up, and you spin on the other side of the glass. I mean, where there's a will, there's
yeah.
a way. There are things that
Mhm.
I can still remember to this day. There are things that I still have. Like for example, my dad got my name engraved on a belt that has like my whole entire name, and then it has my grandmother's name who passed and my aunt's name who passed on it. It's I guess it's this concept of like when people are in fact incarcerated, as if like they don't exist no more. It's as if like
Yeah.
they don't because of one mistake or a few mistakes. Like let me not minimize.
Yeah, before their brain was probably fully developed. We make these people become adults at 18, but and even myself, like we were told at 18 you're an adult, but your brain is really not even developed, I'm saying, until you're 27. Like they really need therapy, they really need help. They need somebody who's gonna care about them instead of treating them like a number.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've seen so many, not to go on a tangent, but I've seen so many. I mean, we've seen it today. There's been so many cases of people sitting here, going in at like 16, and then
Hmm.
going to like maybe a juvenile one or something like that, and then being transferred over. But then the next thing you know, they'll be at, were you at this facility? Did
I
this
know,
happen
and
at this facility? It's like why are you putting these babies in there like
yeah,
this? Like why if they're not it doesn't make it long story short, it just don't make sense. We need to
yeah.
as a
It's a bug.
society, we need to do better.
It's a book. I haven't finished reading it, but it starts amazing. The new Jim Crow talks about that. Like we don't think about beyond this person making that mistake and being we everything that comes after it and everything that comes in it. It's a lot of grieving that happens when a person is incarcerated because grieving what the time they lose with their children, the time they lose with themselves, their family, their mothers. A lot of people lose
Mhm.
people while they're incarcerated and they don't get to say goodbye and they have to grieve that in the best way they can. And nobody's telling them how to grieve because they never learned it because you
Mhm.
know, brain wasn't fully developed when they went in. And then also with what's going on with technology. Like I remember when my uncle got out and it was a DVD player. But even my brother being incarcerated, how many versions of phones we done went through now, like in technology, like us being able to do this call, like having to catch up with so much and also grieving and not staying caught up with the time that you missed. Like that's a lot to put on a person. And that's
Mhm.
why we talk about freedom. It doesn't just look like behind cages, it's also we encage ourselves, like that mental slavery. That's being enslaved too, like incarcerated. We incarcerate our mind until we
Mhm.
let those go and tell our stories. But yeah.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. Um, let's talk about in regards to that connection of your education. We talked about it a little earlier, like in regards to you being educated. Let's talk about it to the sense of like, when did you feel like your mind was advancing faster than your healing was? Meaning, like, you're going into these different spaces, you're having these different opportunities, but you're still kind of tied to what's holding you or what's causing pressure.
Honestly, it was something that you said, but I'm so happy that you asked that question because we were like, you just happy. It's like when I said, why am I not happy? I had asked myself that. Like, I'm like, I have like the degrees, I have the house, I have the car, I've been to Bali. I just came back from Bali. I just came back from Nigeria. My passport is being stamped. I have two passports. I've been to Egypt. I've seen the pyramids. I did game shows. I seen all the concerts that, I did everything on paper that said you should be happy in life. And I'm not gonna say I didn't have fun because I had fun. I was happy doing those things, but internally I didn't feel happy. But um it was I wasn't at peace with myself. And it was because I was still trying to hold on to my past and hold on to what's to come. I was still carrying so much. And it was honestly my father passing away and me realizing I never completed that question you asked, but you're not the savior. And I had to admit that I had a savior complex, and a lot of us do. I wanted to save, I'm just going to say it, I wanted to save my mom. I wanted to save everybody in my family. I wanted to save my friends. I wanted to save everybody in my past because I am loyal and I don't care what nobody, I'm loyal to a T. Like, I try to help them with everything. I mean, sign up for school, take placement tests. I do everything. I'm helping. If I'm successful, you need to, but I'm holding myself back. Like I did make it far, but I could be so far ahead in life when I finally did decide to let go. And not to say I don't love them, I do love them, but they can only love me at the capacity they can love themselves. And I didn't realize that until I had to learn to love myself unconditionally because I wasn't. Um, but I feel like once I let go of that and I realized it wasn't happiness I was searching for, it was peace. And
Mm,
I say this conceal and carry. I'm like the easiest way to know we're not searching for happiness is death. Because in my father's death, I'm like, I can't, happiness is not going to help me in this moment.
mm,
Peace is. I can still grieve, but I don't have any regrets. And I'm so happy I didn't have any regrets when he died because I lost a lot of people too, a
mm,
lot of friends. My childhood best friend, two of my childhood best friends, I lost them in childhood. Um, and I lost my grandfather, I lost my uncle, I lost a lot of people, but the dad death hit me different because it's, your dad. And it's like I'm happy we were able to spend those last 3 years together. And he did help me like have this urgency to live too and be present and living. I
mhm,
decided to write my book because of it and start my podcast and really be free,
mhm.
honestly, free of this savior complex. But yeah, I had to let go of this expectation you can take every because you can't. And what they be this cliche, but on cliche, you can't take everybody with you. And at the top is not money. It's peace. It's this feeling of peace.
Saying that again for the people in the back. At the top, it is not money. At the top is what did you say?
Peace. It's peace. When you got money, everybody want to be on your hotel. Everybody like,
Say it
hey, we
again.
having a good time. Everybody want to be on your hotel. But when you got peace, no, I'm not allowing you in my space unless you take accountability. I'm not allowing you in my space unless you respect my boundaries. No, I'm not allowing you in my space unless you are truth. You hurt me, but I'm forgiving you. But you got to own up to it. It ain't peaceful up there because you a mirror when you have peace. And if people ain't ready to be peaceful and truthful,
Mhm.
that's why it's lonely because they're not able to admit their faults. I'm able to admit my faults. I have done wrong. I've stole. I've been a part of look, Judy, I've been a part of, I mean, it was a family thing. Like I fought, I stole, I did the things that I never, luckily I wasn't a smoker or a drinker. I feel like smoking felt authentic. Like
Mhm.
everybody in my family smoked. I
Mhm.
just didn't do that. I
Mhm.
didn't cuss either. I said the N word, and that's what I'm gonna say too. I want to end it. I don't know whatever, but what changed really and how I did my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't cuss, but I do say the N word. I mean, my product, and I'm not proud of it, but I said the N word in a session, and it was a breakthrough session.
Mm-hmm.
It was a that client started crying because I was really my genuine self. When I get
Mm-hmm.
passionate, I'll be talking, but when I be talking, I'll be saying some real shit.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was healing. I'm like, dang, me being me is healing. And that's who I know who I am. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, me being me is healing. I'm funny. I'm love. I'm everything. Like I'm all the things. We all are, and I'm able to embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm of course humanly flawed. We all are,
Mm-hmm.
but to God, I'm perfection. Just like David, like to us, he was humanly flawed, but to God, he was perfection. Like you can be compared to David, Martin Luther King, or whoever else. Like your story gives you the testimony because God sees you as perfection. That's why you went through what you went through. That's why you did. I mean, yeah, I'm
I,
just living by
I
faith, not by sight.
But I mean, you're hitting everything. You hitting everything on the head. I can say for myself, 2026. I thought I was gonna be walking. Let's do this. 2024 all the way through 2026. I promise you, I had a multitude of friends. I had a multitude of people around me. I was making super good money. Like it was just it was great.
Mhm.
When I tell you, um, I I ain't gonna say I wish I would have took heed or I wish I would have listened to it because God had me listen to it when I had to, when my ears were open to it. Because I heard it
Yeah,
several times, which is the concept
yeah,
of at the end of the day, when you are in fact growing, you're going to need people who either aren't doing the same thing as you, but are better. You should not be the smartest one in the room, is what I've heard. Like, when I was younger, I wish I had the wherewithal and the understanding to love myself like I do now. I wish I loved myself like I do now when I was young. Because I
hmm
was in so many different spaces I didn't need to be in. I was trying to fit in
yeah,
with every other clique, like whether I was gonna be the big girl that was gonna beat up people, or pretty much if it wasn't the concept of like trying to beat up people, was I gonna be the black, the black smart prep girl? Who was I going to in fact be, which had me feeling like
yeah,
in so many different direction. And then when I wouldn't fall in line with how people wanted me to talk, I wasn't black enough. You know what I'm saying? Because my vernacular at the time, I speak. You think I speak
yeah,
proper code switch now? I know what's
yeah.
called. But back then, I was an Avril Lavigne kid. you know,
hmm
um,
No, I know it. Yeah, I know
so
what you mean.
it
I know.
was so hard to figure out like which space, like, am I supposed to be angry all the time? I'm not saying that anger is just within the African American community. No, like, am I supposed to be angry all the time over here with my homies and be the protector of all of them? Like, is that what I'm supposed to do? Or can I just be
Mhm.
me and not have my height, weight, and all this other stuff used as a shield for people? So like I
Yep.
had to go through a lot of things that it's funny that I actually talked to my mom about like a few years ago. She was like, I didn't even know you went through all that stuff. You had good grades. You didn't, I was like, you would never know that. Like I wouldn't bring any extra stress home or anything like that. But outside, it's a little strange, a little wild in the streets a little bit.
But
Like,
look what you just said too. You just said something that is what is needed. But why are kids trying to protect their parents? Like,
mm,
because why are you trying? And that's but it is the same. I was like, I wonder why I didn't tell my mom. I thought it was me protecting. I feel like it goes. I thought I was protecting my mom from more trauma, but realistically, I'm scared because I
yep.
remember when I first caught arrested, I was like, I'd rather go to jail than tell my mom. Like that's because I was scared of my mom. But I'm like, these relationships being intentional, and also I'm gonna say this because I don't know if I've said it before, but people need to hear. Like when Maya Angelou was talked about her sexual abuse, words do have power, and we need to we be intentional about it. And I was like, I wonder if my kids are scared because of what I might do. Because some people won't say stuff because of what they might do. Like if they gonna go to jail, like we do,
Mhm.
or I don't want to put it, I think I'm gonna get whooping, but it shouldn't be fear instilled in your kids to be open and honest with you or because of what they think you might do, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What did achievement give you in those seasons, and what did it take away? So what I mean by that is in those seasons of healing, what did your achievement give? Actually, we were just talking about this.
Mm,
Was your achievement like a buffer? Was
honestly,
it, yeah.
no. I feel like all my life I never noticed it until now. Now I'm really able to reflect on like going to school, graduating, getting a high school diploma, getting a bachelor's degree, getting a master's degree, and getting another master's degree, starting a business, buying a house, a car, like paying a car off, a new car. Those things like I didn't really reflect on them as being accomplishments because honestly, why my whole family didn't have it. My friends didn't have it. I didn't feel like I was successful. So when I really got into therapy, started healing through healing others, I'm like, I can't sell what I'm not willing to buy. So if I was giving them advice, I had to follow it because I wanted them to know, like, look, if I can do it, you can do it. Because, I was doing it with the things that what quote unquote brings us success, but I wasn't doing it in my own healing. So um when I started telling my clients and they were like, oh my God. And they was just telling me how like you did that, you're doing this, you deliver babies, you did, like you did that. I'm like, I was like, dang, I have done a lot despite where I came from, like, because nobody else doing it in your circle. Not, but I wasn't really thinking it was something big because I was around women who were doing it. Even though in my circle I was the only one, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it is a big deal because where you from your circumstances is not common from where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want to tell my story. Like, no matter what you go through, no matter what you thought about yourself, no matter what situation you in, if you in a relationship, whatever you're doing, it's never too late. You can always do it at any point, and it will be hard because it's something new. Just like riding a bike when you first did it, it was hard. It seemed like, "Ah, I can't do this." Thinking, taking you back there, or even tying your shoes, like the things that we thought were hard, driving a car. Things we thought were hard, it's not hard until you make it be your new norm or your new whatever habit, routine. And that's loving yourself. Like people don't, it feels foreign. But once you start doing it, it's gonna feel so good. Like just like riding a bike or driving a car.